Once you find yourself in conflict with a narcissist, it's a virtual guarantee they're going to start playing head games with you. That's why I put together a new course. It's very extensive called Anger Games. I'm going to teach you how to manage anger and conflict with a narcissist. There's a link below that's going to show you how to register, and I hope that you find it to be very insightful. Over the years that I was in the counseling office with many individuals, it was a delight to know that so many of the people that came to my office for therapy were in search of the healthy way of life. They can see that things had not gone well in their own personal lives or in the individuals they've known, and they come in thinking, how can I improve upon what I've experienced so far? And it's a delight when you get to work with somebody who says, I'm coachable, I'm teachable, I just need to have some insights and understandings so I can move forward. One of the things that happens with these kind of individuals who approach life with a certain amount of optimism and a willingness to learn, a curiosity, is that they can become tangled with individuals who might give the appearance that they too would be in that same category, only for this individual to find out it was all fool's gold. And there are so many times when individuals have been connected with someone who proves to be narcissistic, and this is very true, especially in covert narcissist situations, where they look back and realize what I experienced with that person that I thought was okay was image crafting. Narcissists are adept at creating an image that's going to make them look good, and so they can give you the impression, hey, I'm on your team with you, or I'm going to be here for you, only for you to find out that there's much behind the scenes that they're just not letting you know up front. Let me give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Let's suppose that a young man marries a woman who's very friendly and says all the right things and is very engaging and helpful, but over time, this now wife alienates him from his family of origin, alienates him from his friends, and wants to completely take over, what he does in his schedule. And then the relationship falls apart and this guy is isolated. It's like, I'm devastated. What am I supposed to do now that I have been pulled away from the people that mean the most to me? And now I'm feeling so terribly lonely. Or it may be that you've had a strong friendship with someone and you thought, this is it. I've really wanted to be connected with someone who cares about me greatly. And then you find out later that something that you had shared with that person, that supposed friend that was of a delicate nature, has been spread all over the place. And it's like, but I was counting on you to keep confidence. And they didn't. And you're devastated because you feel humiliated, embarrassed, and betrayed. It could be that you have somebody in your social circles or in your extended family that was very friendly and engaging, you thought, only for you to find out that that person was having a long-term extramarital affair, perhaps with somebody that you knew. And it's like, ooh, I did not see that coming. And it's devastating because then when you get back to the circles that you were in, then it's like, we don't know what to do with this person. Or it could be that, and I've heard this one so many times, that you were connected with someone that you felt like was going in a good direction, and then they just ghost you. It's like, I thought we had something good going. Or I've even had people saying, I thought we were going to get married, or I thought this was going to be my best friend for life. And it's like crickets. They don't return texts or phone calls, etc. I mean, the possibilities are so strong where you have a promising kind of relationship only to find out that it was just a little more than hype, and that person did not live up to it. Then, to add to it, once the relationship starts unraveling and coming apart, there are certain elements that we'll call collateral damage that come along with it that just add more pain to your circumstance. For example, when there's been a devastating loss of a relationship, family gatherings may not be as pleasant as they used to be. Or people take sides and they start making assumptions about you that are erroneous. Or you just wind up feeling jaded. It's like, well, who can I trust and who can I be open with? Maybe you lost a lot of money, or you lost status in work or organizations. It's in these times when you have these once promising relationships that fall apart and you're at that place of devastation. It's like, I'm blown away. I don't know what to do. It's in these times that you're in your greatest learning chair, if you will. It's like, okay, rather than saying, I hate these people and I'm just going to hold them in contempt. Okay, I appreciate you feel the way you feel. But it's at that moment that you want to ask, what am I learning? And specifically, what am I learning about this pattern of selfishness that so many people get caught up in that we refer to as narcissism, their control and their manipulations and their phoniness? What am I learning about that? Well, there are quite a few lessons, and if you'll listen to them, then you can actually become a better person for having been through this. I'm sorry you've had to go through what you've had. One of the things you learn is that narcissists don't really invest in relationships. They manage relationships. You see the distinction? Rather than thinking my heart is in it, what they're thinking is, what can I get from you? And as long as I'm getting what I get, then I'm okay. But I have all sorts of other things on the side that I'm dealing with. And so I just need to make sure that you're doing what I want you to do. And that can be a very disillusioning thought for you, but that's how narcissists do it. They're managers of you as opposed to invested in your heart. In addition, one of the things you begin learning is that when you're dealing with a narcissist, their self-absorption is off the chart. And it's really sad when you say, even when they seem to be tuned into you, even when you're on the receiving end of their kindness and their pleasantness, even that can be driven by their self-absorption. It's kind of like, oh, I'm getting what I want right now. Of course, you don't see it at the time, but that's what you eventually learn as you look back and try to make sense of it all. In addition, you see that one of the things you learn about narcissism is they have an incredibly strong capacity for rationalization. If you were to sit down with that person and say, tell me what happened or what's going on here, you would hear one lame excuse after another and they believe it. And unfortunately, it's going to be much of it's going to be on you, which then takes us to another thing that you can learn about narcissism. And that is when things go wrong, narcissists don't have that introspective nature. What they do is blame. They'll say, you were a devious person. And what they're doing very commonly is they're projecting. Or you shared something personal about me with someone else when in fact it may have been something incredibly minor, but they're accusing you of breaking confidences. Or you have problems with anger when in fact there would be times when that person could rage or have contempt and you had some frustration. But what they'll do is they can build a case against you and they project so much of their garbage as a way of protecting themselves. Another thing you learn, and this is learning in the hard way, is your independence. Your independence is a threat to them. They don't like you to be your own distinct person. Perhaps you didn't realize it at the time, but that person had a groove for you. They had a mold, they had slots that you were supposed to stay in, and then when you began showing that you wanted to be your own unique person, that didn't work very well. Also, narcissists operate with the idea that when you have burdens in your life, then they consider that to be something that's a deal killer. For example, if you have stepkids that you're trying to come to terms with and they don't know what to do with that, or maybe you have a physical ailment, or maybe you've just had some sort of a situation that's required extra attention from you. It's like, I don't deal with stuff like that. It's too uncomfortable and awkward. In addition, one of the things you find is that narcissists are adept at the skill of compartmentalization. Once negatives come along, all of this other stuff is no good, and they just say, "Well, you're over here," and they can just turn off their feelings really quickly. And it's like, "Well, I don't want to have to deal with this. This is what I want." They don't have good coping skills, which is why they tend to fall apart, and their anger can linger for a long, long time. Once you're on their bad list, I could say it worse than that, but once you're on their bad list, you can stay on that bad list for a long time. So you have these circumstances where you thought at one point, this is a promising relationship. This is one where I think that I could put a lot of trust into, only to find that it was the exact opposite of that, and you're totally devastated. How can you proceed? Well, first and foremost, be patient with yourself. Give yourself time to grieve. I think sometimes in our American culture, anyway, I know some of you are from other places, but sometimes we get too impatient, trying to say, what's the answer? And we have to get it all solved in an immediate kind of way, and we want to get things done. Sometimes it's just going to take time for things to unravel in a healthy way. It's okay for you to become a minimalist. Sometimes when you've had these hurts, you need to pull back and say, I need a break. And you pull back and you don't have as many activities with other individuals, and you read more, or you go to therapy, or you just have some time where you just aren't going to be as social. That's okay. You might ask yourself the question as you move forward, well, what lessons am I going to carry into future relationships? I don't think you're going to quit. I hope you don't on all relationships, but it's like, with all of this deviousness and manipulation, what do I need to watch for? And how can I approach things in a different kind of way? And by the way, that's where therapy can help you sift that out as you move forward. I'm hoping that one of the things you can do as part of your healing is you lean less on other individuals to solve your problems. And I don't mean to say this in a real harsh way, but sometimes you have to factor in a certain amount of pessimism as you move forward. And what I mean is, not everybody's trustworthy, and as opposed to just being so optimistic that the optimism just pulls you down. And so you want to lean less on others, and you want to take counsel from your own internal wisdom. Seek some self-soothing behaviors, not of a self-destructive nature, but find some things that you enjoy and you appreciate, and lean into that. And then, above all things, don't give up on the things about yourself that are right and good, whether it's your capacity for love, your capacity for loyalty. Some folks say, yeah, I was guilty of being too loyal, or your capacity for helpfulness, or being an encourager. All of that is something that's still yours to claim, and hold on to that. Don't just quit on yourself. The narcissist, when you're devastated and they move on, sometimes they wind up actually taking delight in the fact that you're devastated, and they'll gloat. It's like, I was the better person. They don't have their act together. And that's what they can think, and let them think that. What it tells us is, when a person is willing to go in that direction with you and you wind up holding the bag, you are dealing with evil. You're dealing with abuse. That's a person who has a distorted way of life, and that's someone that they've done you a favor in a very odd kind of way by saying we don't need to be together. And I'm hoping you can say, I realize that, and I'm going to make my adjustments accordingly. And I hope that videos such as this can give you some good awareness. I hope you also know that you're not alone. One of the reasons I do these videos is because they're the result of so many conversations I've had. So if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, go ahead and hit that, and we'll keep more videos coming towards you. In addition, I mentioned therapy. There are times when you're going through something like this and you're just kind of at this raw place. It can be so helpful for you to get a therapist to help you out and sift it through with you. I've been sponsored for years by the people at BetterHelp.com, and you go through their link. There's a link below the video here, and they'll ask you questions. Who are you, and how can I help you, and where are we going to go from here? And it can be such a relief to know that there are people that would help you in that respect. In addition, though I'm retired from my counseling practice, I put together courses, and they're online classes that you can take at your own pace. And each one has at least 25 teaching videos. Each video has documents that go along with it, guided questions. It's meant to have a strong therapeutic initiative for you. We have my big one right now is Anger Games, how not to get sucked into the anger of the narcissist. In addition, we have This Is Me, about boundaries, free to be, finding yourself, Ready, Set, Connect, how to have healthy connections. Also, and the links are below here for that. On my website, you'll have access to my webinars, which are 90-minute presentations that I've done of a different nature, along with my articles, access to my podcasts and my books, etc. So there's plenty of resources. Avail yourself to that. I know that when you have been through something that you thought was going to be one positive thing, and you wind up having a very opposite kind of experience, it can hurt. But again, let's take that hurt that you're experiencing and say, now's the time for me to get to know myself even more fully, and get to have that much more of a commitment towards my healthiness. And that's how you get to the place where you're going to be able to have steadiness. And I'm hoping you can also find a sense of peace despite the turmoil. you can still have peace in your life.